going to use a band, but we're using it for feedback as opposed to beasting ourselves. There will be an element of strengthening this in this class too. So set up to start with, we'll be lying on your backs with the band across your pelvis, your lower part of the pelvis. That's it. And you could introduce a little bit of tension if you want to, but not loads, so you're going to have to use your arms loads to press down. So it's just a small amount just to get in touch with what's going on in your pelvis. That's it. And to start with, we're just going to breathe. We're going to breathe into our rib cages and then send the breath down to your belly as well. And then I'd like you to pull your belly away a little bit from the band as you breathe out, and then from the rib cage, allowing it to gently contract. So breathing in. Draw the breath down to your lower belly. Then breathing out, drawing your belly away from the band and drawing your chest inwards again. Try that a few times. And then we're going to gently introduce a pelvic tilt. So we're going to breathe in and then breathe out. Draw your belly away from the band and tilt pubic bone to nose, like you're imprinting the middle of your back into the mat or the bed. And then breathe in, release it back to the center. Breathing out, tilting. Breathing in, return to what we would call your neutral position. So neutral is where you're not tilting that way or that way. You're somewhere in the middle. So this is a very light core activation by drawing your pelvis away from your band. And it's obviously exploring your neutral position too. Just letting Maddie in.
Leanne, I never know when I'm in neutral. Is it a case of just keeping on with the proprioception exercise?
There's tips. So this is a massive tip, is what we have been doing, which is the imprinting and then moving out of the imprint, but then not tilting that way. So that's the biggest tip I could do. Another idea is to think of a flat line between your pubic bone and your hip bone. And obviously we've got lots of flesh here as well, so you need to imagine without the flesh. And then having those two central to each other, to level with each other, that would be neutral. However, everybody's neutral is different. Men's pelvises are different too, so the pelvis would be dipped if you were going to line them up. So it's basically about finding that imprint first and then moving out of the imprint, but then not tilting that way. And that would be your neutral, and everyone's is different. And there's no hard and fast rule either. So some Pilates teachers teach imprinted backs, and you're doing all your exercises with your back pressed against, the middle of your back pressed against the mat, and your pubic bones pointing this way. So I don't think it's anything to massively worry about, but it's nice to explore that feeling of bringing it into a neutral position.
Thank you. I'm sure, like everything else, it'll make sense in about 6 months' time.
Yeah, or even 6 years. It's taken me a very long time to come to terms with neutral.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to draw the band down a little bit more, as long as you're not very sensitive in your pelvis. And we're going to circle the pelvis. and enjoy the feedback of the band as you're circling the pelvis. So you're keeping it very small. Can I just have a note to your shoulders, an ode to shoulders? Try and keep them away from your ears where you can. Try and keep them relaxed because it's very easy to bring lots of tension as you're pressing down on the band. And let's circle the other way as well, keeping it really small. And then allow your pelvis to slow into back to your neutral position. Okay, we're now going to bring the band to just underneath the rib cages. There is an option if you want to really feel it, to bring the band behind and cross over in the front to give you that added bit of feedback. So far we have worked on drawing the breath into our rib cages, but bringing it down into the belly, deep into the belly. And that really helps you release your pelvic floor muscles if you get the breath down to your belly. Now we're going to work on the rib cage and expanding our rib capacity and lung capacity. So we've got the band either crossed in the front here, or once again, you're pressing it down lightly with your hands either side of you, and you can even just rest your elbows on the band. And then we're going to breathe deeply into the band, feeling the rib cage expand outwards into the band. And then feeling as though you're drawing the rib cage away from the band as you breathe out. For anyone whose ribs like to float or sublux, a good idea is to keep the band quite wide so it doesn't press into any individual rib. And this is great for intercostal muscle strength, using the band for the resistance. Breathing in and out. And then we're going to extract the band and hold it above our heads. So I'll give you lots of options again. So one option is here, one option is much lower, and one option is keeping the elbows resting. If you would like to add tension to the band, I'd recommend wrapping your band round once around your hands so you're not having to grip. And that's for those who want to add tension. If you're adding tension, just double check your elbows are soft. You might want to shuffle your shoulders away from your ears and check you're not bringing tension into your jaw and your face. So feel free to do some gurning or whatever you need to release any of that. That's it. Okay, so we're going to very gently circle. So it looks like this if your hands are up in the air. It looks like this if you want to keep your arms lower, or this if your elbows are resting on the floor or the bed. And start small as you explore the movement in your shoulders and the impact it has on your shoulder blades as well. Feel the shoulder blades gently responding to the movement of your arms. Gently making the move a little bit bigger. And circling the opposite way as well, with or without that tension on the band. And then we're going to draw the elbows down if they're not already, and then press up again. So small amounts. So with the tension, feel free to introduce some tension as you're doing this, or you could use this band as a guide to let you know if your arms are coming in towards you as you bring them down, or they're splaying outwards. See if you can bring them up and down directly, shoulder width apart as you're doing it.
That's remarkable. I can actually feels like my shoulder's in place from doing that with the tension on it.
Yay!
Wow. Thank you, Scorlianne.
Thank you. And then the next one is we're going to press the band away from us and then draw it back. So I'm giving you the adapted version first, where you're pressing and drawing back. Or you could draw back here and then press downwards. That's it. So while you're doing this one, focus on what's happening in your pelvis. If you want to move into your imprinted and then find your neutral again, feel free as you do this, as we try and maintain the neutral pelvis. And then we're going to let those arms rest. So we're going to take the hands out of the band, let them rest either side of you, palms upwards, as we gently sway the knees side to side. That's it, gentle. And we're going to go for a march. So while your shoulders are relaxed, your jaw is not tense, your neck isn't holding on to any tension, we're going to lift the heels up one at a time. And imagine if you've got the band rested on your pelvis, imagine it's a cup of tea, and it's a very posh cup of tea, a teacup on a saucer on your pelvis. And you're going to keep that tea still so it doesn't spill over. And then an option for you, should you wish, is to float your knee up and explore that feeling of keeping that tea still, not from spilling as you move the knees. So you can continue with the gentle heel raises if you prefer, or you could float. If you would like to make this a little bit harder for you, when you float the knee up, try and find 90 degrees in the knee. I often have to look like this to imagine 90 degrees, and then keep that 90 degrees as you float it down, and that adds a little bit of extra kind of load. And you'll find your pelvis really wants to dip forward, but we're keeping it still to look after our cups of tea. And because you're concentrating so hard on what your legs are doing, just check in with yourself, check about tension, check your breathing. If you want to add an extra layer to this, you could reach the hands away with the band and press the knee into the band and release. So this gives a little extra layer of needing to use more tummy muscles to stabilize, but also you'll notice you're using the quads and the hip flexors a bit more here too. Just double check those elbows are not compensating and bending backwards. Okay, final one. And take a moment just to let everything once again settle. So however that looks for you, if it's knee sways or knee hugs or getting some water, feel free. So for those of you who are ready, we're now going to tie our legs together with the band just above the knee. And as always, this is just an option. I tend to tie once and then put a bow in it so it's easier to undo afterwards. And we're going to do a little bit of shoulder bridge. So if you're lying down and you're propped up with loads of pillows, you could either remove the pillows and do the full shoulder bridge with us, or if you want to keep anything underneath your head, just come a little bit, but make sure the bottom of your rib cage stays on the bed or the floor so that you're not going to put pressure on your neck. Okay, so that's your guide, is the bottom of your rib cage. That'll stay there as you're lifting the pelvis just a touch. If you have removed cushions, bring the heels as close as is comfortable to your bottom. Lightly press out into the band, just a very light bit of tension into the band. That then activates these muscles here that often make your knees feel a bit more comfortable as you peel up. So you explore how that feels as you peel your spine up off the bed. That's it. And then peel down. Some people will find that they might need to add something between their knees, like a cushion, because it's still really uncomfortable for knees, if you can find a way to get it in. So that's an option too, cushion between knees. And then peel back down. For those of you who don't need a cushion, we're going to lightly push up, and then we're going to very lightly press out. Relax, but don't let the band win. So you'll come back to hip width apart with the knees and peel back down again. So it's a gentle peel up with your knees hip width apart. Light press out. Return to hip width apart. Peeling back down again. And then you might like to explore going a little bit wider with your feet and your knees. So now you're activated longer term with the band as you peel up and down, not letting the band win. Some of you will instantly feel the muscles here suddenly go, oh, I'm going to work now. So that's your glute medius. It's a lovely hip stabilizer. We like that one. If you want to, keep your pelvis settled, you could have the band and you could lightly press out of the band, keeping your pelvis on the floor at this point if you prefer. And you will still get that glute medius going. So there's 1,000,001 options for you all. That's it.
Leanne, is there a way of like putting your hands on your bum or something to feel where that glute, is it a middle one or something?
It's okay, I'll show you my bum.
Nice one.
So this one here is the glute medius, that nice big fleshy one.
Okay.
And if you move outwards just a little bit towards your hip, but just down a bit, there's a great big muscle just there. You've got your minimus and then you've got your medius just there.
Right. Really helps me to put my hand and feel it.
Yeah. So if you find your nice big fleshy bit and then move out and down a touch, stick your finger in there as you do whatever you're doing. So this one or this one, and you should feel it harden a little bit.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And for those who can tolerate doing it on your side, you can feel it even more on your side in a minute. And we're going to move on to sides in a bit. Okay, so now we're going to use the band to release things. So you could hold on to the band, that's it, and lengthen your legs to the sky. Feel free to bend and stretch if you want. Feel free to circle. It's whatever feels good to you. And you could keep the the band in a circle. and leave one foot in the band, like so, as we then circle. Please be careful of face pingage potential here. So very gentle, small circles, going back to having your cup of tea on your pelvis. If having your leg up in the air is feeling not great for you right now, you could bend the knee and circle here instead. Okay, there's lots of benefits of this circle, this way of doing it, whichever version, but the circling, because you're bringing some blood flow down to your hips. So it's very healing for your hips. You're getting some extra synovial fluid in the socket. So we want this, we want that juiciness in our hips. So if anyone's ever wondering why I talk about juiciness in hips, that's what I mean, is the blood flow and the synovial fluid. Okay, then we're going to swap legs. I prefer swapping mid-air because I'm lazy, but you can do it however you like. If you want to sit up and do it, if your pots can tolerate that, that's great. If you want to circle both directions, feel free. And then we're going to give our hands and everything a break. So you might want to wiggle your fingers, rub them together. Just take a moment, let your body catch up with you. Okay, we're going to put these blinking things back on above our knees. I should have planned this class better and done this before we did the circling the legs, shouldn't I? So we could have kept it on. There we go. And for those of you who are happy to, we're going to lie on our sides again. If you would prefer to stay on your back, that's fine. Your version will be on your back, but exactly the same as what we're doing. So let's find our glute medius. So have a good squeeze of your nice fleshy bit of your bum. And then bring your fingers round towards the front just a little bit. Some people have a bit of a hollow just here, and then it's just below that hollow. That's where the glute medius is. That's it. So it's not quite on top of the hip. It's just in between fleshy bit and top of hip. Okay, so we've got hopefully in touch with our glute medius. Try and externally rotate and see if you can feel a bit of a hardness going on, and then retreat back again. Okay, so that's your glute medius. Try and line your heels up with your bottom as well. That's optimal position for this clam. If anyone is living with hip bursitis or greater trochanteric pain syndrome, your version is this, because sometimes this external rotation, when loaded, can flare it up a bit. So gentle press and release. That's it. Okay, final one. And then take a moment to relax. I like to bring my leg in front to just stretch this out. So that might be nice for you. You could disperse lactic acid by doing this. Okay, are you all ready to get in touch with your glute maximus? Okay, that's that nice bit, the big bit that we want to be nice and strong and rounded. So grab hold of your fleshy bit in your bottom, and we're going to hover the leg and press back. Imagine you're pressing back into that hand. So for me, I can now feel my hamstrings acting more than my glutes. So I'm going to reset and then I'm going to try again, see if I can get the glutes activating. So it's worth just being aware of your body trying to do weird adaptations that you're not asking it to do. That's it. If you're lying on your back right now, press your foot down into the bed instead. Well done, everyone.
If this doesn't work at all on the side, like you can't pick that hip up or that leg up at all today, is it going on the back?
Yeah, I'd work on the back and press your foot into the bed instead or the floor.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, final one, press, and then release, and take a moment to let your body settle. We are going to untie our bands and do a nice little circle and then roll over to the other side, tie our legs back up again. So if you fancy just keeping the band exactly where it is for when we roll over, feel free. Otherwise, separate yourself. So I think I mentioned this on Monday. Have it in maybe 4 or 2, fold it. And we're going to be gymnasts with our ribbons. And we're going to make sure our head is supported. So either bring your head to the front of your pillow or hold on to your head so that your neck doesn't get strained. And we're going to draw that glitter all the way around us, being careful not to drop your arm below your shoulder as you rotate your spine backwards as well. So it's more a rotation of your spine and also getting your shoulders nice and juicy. Making sure you're breathing as you do it. Well done, Maddie. And then allow everything to just still. Some of you might fancy, at this point, rolling a little bit, like halfway onto your back. So your shoulders are resting on the floor, your arms are open, but your legs are open enough to not strain here. So yeah, that's it. So that's a nice position for some of you. So you're getting a nice rotation in your spine. You're getting some just extra lengthening here, opening up. And then we're going to roll over to the other side and miraculously tie our legs back together in between. That's it. So grab onto your fleshy bit of your bottom and then work your way between the top of your hip and the fleshy bit to find your medius. And then we're going to gently line the heels up with your bottom and gently rotate outwards and return. Or if you've got greater trochanteric pain syndrome or hip bursitis, draw the leg up instead. That's it. And feel the movement of that muscle underneath your fingers. Okay, give your body a moment to settle before we then go to the glute max. And then grab hold of your glute max and press that leg behind you and release. That's it, remembering that if you're on your back or sitting up, you could very lightly press that foot down into your bed and release. Okay, one final one. And then bring your leg in front, give it some love. You can untie at this point as well. That's it. And then we're going to fold. It's a 2 or 4 to the band, depending on how long it is. And find a way to protect your neck by supporting your head with pillows or hand. And then gently draw that circle around you, allowing your spine to rotate, not letting your hand drop below your shoulder. So just double checking your elbows as well. Check they're not bending backwards as you reach the band behind you. Okay, final one. And then give yourself a moment to settle. So while you're settling, I'm going to give you some options for the next move that we're going to do. So some of you might want to join me in prone. So on your tummies. And I've got adaptations for anyone who doesn't want to be on their tummy. So what we're going to do is bring the band over the back of the buttocks and rest the forehead on a cushion. And we're going to hold the band down so there's a little bit of resistance on the buttocks. It just gives you that feedback. As we then go swimming, so we're going to lift one leg up and lower it back down, and then lift the other leg up and lowering it back down, imagining you've got a cup of tea on the back of your pelvis. You're going for stillness as you're doing this. So I will set you up in a minute. For those of you who want to be on their tummies, I will guide you through it with my words. So feel free to start getting into your tummy position if you want to. If you would like to stay on your backs, we're going to be in this position here, and we're going to press one foot away from you at a time from this position here. So it's a very small move. So those on tummies, you're going to lie on your tummy. Make sure your forehead is supported so you've got room for your nose. That's it. And then I'd like you to lengthen your lower back. So imagine you're trying to pull your tailbone away from the back of your head. Maybe even lift your tummy up. So feel like you're trying to lift your tummy away from the mat. And then lift one leg up, trying to keep the leg straight. Imagine the lift is coming from your hamstrings. So the back of your thigh is lifting as opposed to your foot, and that will enable you to keep your legs straight. That's it. If you're lying on your backs and you want to try something different, you could try this version here where you're pressing one at a time up into the band. Just double check you're keeping your knees soft, so you're not bending them backwards as you press up into the band. If you want to add a level of challenge, you could press away from you. And then those of you who are on your tummies with the band, holding onto the band lightly, we're going to gently draw the shoulder blades together and down, and then release. The band really helps because it helps you kind of rest your hands as you're doing this, shoulders together and down, and it stops you straining. So it's worth the try, keeping that band rested on your buttocks as you go shoulders together and down and release. If you're on your backs, you're going to rest your arms gently down by your sides without the band. And gently draw the shoulder blades together and down, and then release. And your legs could be lengthened or bent. So it's smooth and slow. Good. And then you have the option to release the band. You might want to whip it off you as you press yourself back into a prayer stretch, a wide-kneed prayer stretch here. And to open up the buttocks that have just really worked here, I'd like you to gently shift from side to side, just in this position. For anyone where prayer stretch does not work for any reason, your option is on your backs, hugging your knees like this and doing some gentle sways from here. And then when you're ready, roll yourself onto your back if you're not already. And we're going to hug one knee in towards the chest and lengthen the other leg and take some breaths here. That's it. Just watch your shoulders. Watch you're not pulling your shoulders out of their sockets. That's it. So you've got one knee in, one leg lengthened away, resting on the floor. That's it. For those of you who have had a hip replacement in the leg that you're hugging in, you're going to stay exactly where you are. If you've not had a hip replacement in that leg, put your opposite hand on the knee and then draw the knee across and then return. So this is an active stretch where we're drawing it across and returning and not holding. This is great for hypermobility. If you don't have hypermobility, you could draw it across, that's it, and open up and hold that position for longer. So you choose whichever version is going to be better for you. So my knee was uncomfortable then, so I've gone underneath the knee instead of on top. So it's just making those adjustments to suit your body. Then when you're ready, let that leg rest and settle. Take a few hip circles or stretching out. And then hug the other knee in towards your chest and release the other leg away from you. And breathe. Well done, Trish. I hope it goes okay and it feels better without it. Take care. Bye. So anyone who's had a hip replacement in this side, stay exactly where you are. Or if you've not had a hip replacement in this side, put the opposite hand on the opposite knee and draw yourself across and release. Zoe just reminded me, good thinking Zoe, if you fold your band so it's nice and strong, you could use that to support your leg as you're drawing it across instead if you prefer. Thanks Zoe. Well done, and then release. Open the legs wide, open the arms wide, And draw one knee in towards the centre and then swap sides. So if you've got hypermobility, moving in and out of the stretch is ideal. Try not to let your knee drop too close towards the floor. If you've not got hypermobility, you might like to stay for a while in that position and breathe and then swap to the other side. And then take a moment to let your body settle. So this is where we move into the body love, body appreciation, relaxation. So feel free if you want to wrap yourself up in blankets and cushions. And let your eyes close or soften. If you prefer sitting up, that's cool. I'm like that. I prefer being up so I can stay awake. And start to pay attention to your body, noticing the contact points between yourself and the floor or the bed. Noticing your feet, where they may be in contact, your buttocks or the back of your pelvis. If you're lying down, notice the shoulders and the back of the arms and the back of your head resting. And inhale deep into your body and feel that breath really arrive into you. And then exhale and imagine the body sinking a little heavier, just like you're melting down into a really beautiful, soft, warm mattress. Continue with that inhale and exhale. And a lot of us, especially those with multiple chronic illnesses, spend so much time thinking about what our bodies should be. So for the next few minutes, I just want you to let your body be what it is right now for you, and offering it love and respect. So we're going to scan from the forehead to the jaw, allowing your jaw and your teeth to unclench, allowing the frown lines on your forehead to soften, down the throat, soften, across the shoulders, the collarbones, the chest. Allow them to either drop away from your ears or just open. And bring your attention down towards your belly. No need to hold it in. Let it rise and fall with your breath. And just thank it for everything it does for you. And it doesn't even ask for praise or thanks. But I want you to send some appreciation down to that belly. Then bring your attention to your heart and your lungs. Some of you might even want to bring your hands close to the heart and the lungs. And just thank them for working constantly for you. Then move your mind down to your legs. Just whatever they've been able to do for you today, thank them. And then we're going to thank the band, but also our muscles that have worked like the band, using their strength and elasticity to tense and to release, for giving us that feedback, for giving us that support with no force. So let's just bring attention and appreciation to those muscles for working in the way they did. And then when you're ready, we're going to gently wiggle the fingers and toes. And if you're lying down, feel free to roll to your side before sitting up, or you could stay lying down as we close the class. Going to do the Pilates finish. I've named it something, I never used to name it, but this is the Pilates finish as we reach the hands to the height that works for you, breathing in. Press the hands together, draw them down past your chest in honour and appreciation of you, your bodies and your minds for bringing you here and working so beautifully. Well done, everybody. So if you want to drift off, that's cool, that's absolutely fine, or if you want to stay and say